I keep my goals to myself, cause whenever I share with folks, they get a look upon their face and their memory floats to a time where their goals and the stars ain't...
What's good? We're going to get into TNA Impact from July the 23rd, 2026. This was a pretty good episode of TNA Impact. I thoroughly enjoyed this. I like how they're still pushing Leon Slater, KC Navarro, and Ricky Sosa as young talent. So I do like that. I definitely appreciate that. I'm really enjoying the Knockout Television Championship Tournament. I like that. I'm hoping that Mara Sade ends up winning the whole thing, which she probably should, because it should be a babyface winning this. So hopefully that happens. And we are going to talk about the ratings. We haven't talked about the ratings in like a few weeks because they weren't in. But the ratings are finally in. And they're actually pretty good. We just didn't have the ratings in for the July 2nd episode and the July 9th episode. But hopefully we'll get those in due time. But they probably weren't good, if we're being honest. So, the ratings are in for July the 16th, 2026. TNA drew 286K viewers, which is great. That went up from the numbers, which was 188K. That was on June 25th. So I'm pretty sure the July 2nd and the July 9th episodes were probably maybe like 190 to 195 total K viewers, probably, if that, because that was a holiday. So in the 18 to 49 demo, it scored a 0.03. So that's really, really good. So good stuff. I actually do like this. This is great. And last week's show was a very strong show, too. So I don't know if it was live or not, though. So I'm not sure, but this is great. I am happy for TNA. They drew close to 300K, and I like it. Hopefully, it can still continue to improve ratings-wise. But like I say, so far, ever since they've gone to AMC, they've been kind of like a roller coaster, up and down, fluctuating up and down, up and down. And again, I think TNA would do a consistent probably 280 to probably 315 if these shows were live every single week and not just doing it once a month. I still don't understand why AMC didn't push TNA to actually produce live television every single month. Every single week. I mean, I get they have a thin roster, but come on, at least try. But whatever. But that's good, and hopefully the ratings will continue to increase. And this is a good thing. I actually do like this. All right, let's go ahead and get into the show. So we kicked the show off with the first match of the night. AJ Francis and Frankie Kazarian, they defeat Moose and Elijah. Didn't really watch this match, didn't even care about it. So, no, my bad, I'm sorry. Yeah, they did win. So, Frankie Kazarian and AJ Francis, they got the win. Who really cares about this at all? It's not that important, whatever. I think AJ Francis got the win via, was it the down payment or the cash out? I believe it was the down payment. So, whatever. Who really cares about this? Post-match, Expressions, the guy who's with AJ Francis, he attacked Elijah from behind with the guitar. So then Moose stops that from happening. And then Elijah ends up hitting the Highway's man's farewell. So the Highway farewell. So the tombstone that he does, which is fine. So whatever. I don't care. I don't give a shit about this at all. So they ended up beating up the heels, Frankie Kazarian and AJ Francis. Don't care about this shit at all. Whatever. Moving on. Mustafa Ali, he's backstage. He's standing with the Order 4 as the TNA roster votes to determine his next challenger. The rules are simple. Anyone on the active roster can vote. Each person gets one vote, and no one can vote for themselves. All right, whatever. Moving on. Elayna Black versus Wendy Choo. First round television knockout championship tournament. It ends in a no contest because the time elapsed for whatever reason. This was weird. I thought this was actually dumb booking. Wendy Choo's been doing okay in Evolve. She's been in TNA a couple of times when they were doing the NXT partnership earlier on last year. This is when she was the evil doll version of herself. So I actually liked that when she was like kind of evil and shit. So yeah, but now she's kind of reverted back to her original self. Not when she was doing like the whole onesie shit, but when she was just basic regular Wendy Choo. So it is what it is. It happens. It was dumb. The crowd, they wanted the match to restart and everything else, but it didn't happen. Xia Brookside showed up and beat up both of them for whatever reason. So it seems like they're trying to turn Elayna Black babyface to go after Xia Brookside, but it makes no sense because Elayna Black does great heel work, and I don't know why why TNA made this decision, but it is what it is. But I can see that's where they're going, Elayna Black and Xia Brookside. Maybe at Lockdown, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how shit plays out. Moving on. This leads us into more Order 4 backstage stuff. So, Rosemary and Allie, they put in their votes. Rich Swann, he shows up, puts in his vote. Ryan Nemeth, same thing. Cedric Alexander, he does the same thing. They all cast their votes and everything. So, and Milla Moore, she reassures John Skyler that everything's gonna be okay. So whatever, who really cares about that? Moving on. This leads us into the System. They are out next. Who cares about them? So Brian Myers promises the dominance of the System will always remain the same. Eddie Edwards considers the System as TNA Wrestling's quality control, and he hypes up Alicia with her match. So there's that. Cedric Alexander, he gloats about retaining the X Division Championship. And Bear Bronson brags over his victory against Ricky Sosa. Whatever. Ricky Sosa shows up and interrupts. He reflects on his loss last week to Bear Bronson. Ricky is confident the reason he lost is because of Brian Myers' interference, which is true. Eddie Edwards fires back and says that the fact that Ricky Sosa he refused to join the System. So Leon Slater shows up. And he states that he's got Ricky Sosa's back. Leon Slater proposes a match against him right now in a tag match. Eddie Edwards proposes he'll talk to Daria for that match to happen next week in Philadelphia. So, there's that. Whatever. I don't really care about this at all. Again, I'm a fan of Leon Slater and Ricky Sosa. I don't give a fuck about the System outside of Cedric Alexander and Bear Bronson. Because I like those two guys. But Eddie Edwards and Brian Myers, fuck them. And Alicia Edwards, too. Fuck her, too. So, yeah. I'm just being honest. So, this leads us into Daria Ray. She announces that the number one contender is going to be Jason Hotch. So, this pisses off Mustafa Ali, so whatever. This is fine, I guess. Moving on, this leads us into BDE versus Mr. Elegance. Didn't really even watch this match at all. So Mr. Elegance, he gets the win. So that's fine. So they're still making BDE still chase his first win in TNA, which is weird. They've been doing this for about a good 6-7 months. That's not good. He should have already got a win. You know, it makes no damn sense. It's dumb. Like, he's young. Like, I think Mr. Elegance is probably in his late 20s, maybe early 30s. Like, come on, bro. I mean, I like Mr. Elegance. He's okay in small doses, but come on. But it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Moving on, this leads us into the Righteous Deletion match. If you've seen one Hardy deletion, you've seen them all. So it's just a bunch of brawling and stuff that happens. They're brawling in the Hardy compound, basically. So, you know, there's that. Just a bunch of, you know, typical Hardy stuff. They're fighting on the boat. They're fighting, you know, they teleport to the ring and everything else and all that jazz. Matt Hardy's kids get involved and they do moves to Vincent and Dutch and everything. Then there's also the Lake of Reincarnation. They use that and everything. Jeff, he now transforms into Willow and everything else. And, you know, he's beating the shit out of Vincent and Dutch. And there's fireworks involved and everything. It's just a bunch of, like, random crazy shit. So the Hardys ended up getting the win when Jeff Hardy ended up climbing on top of a bulldozer and doing a swanton bomb to take out both Vincent and Dutch through the table, and then that was it. So this was absolutely insane. This is fine. Again, I like ultimate deletion matches and stuff like that. They're fun cinematic matches, but it's way too overdone because they've been doing this for over a decade, and it's fine. I mean, it should do well in the ratings because these draw pretty decent numbers when they do this, when the Hardys were doing this 10 years ago. So, we'll see how it goes in the ratings, but this was okay. This is actually kind of fun. I kind of wish this would have started the show, honestly, but it is what it is. So, whatever. I mean, it's fine. As long as this lame feud between the Hardys and the Righteous is over, I'm fine with it. But because I really didn't give a damn about the Righteous. Like, they're okay in small doses, but the feud with the Hardys has not really meant jack shit, and thankfully it's over. Moving on from that, this leads us into Leon Slater. He's backstage talking to Jason Hodge. He stops him from going to Daria Ray. He said he swears it's his time, that being Jason Hodge, and then he deserves this title shot against Mustafa Ali. And then before he knocks on Daria Ray's door, he receives a phone call. Okay, whatever. Moving on, Jada Stone defeats Alicia Edwards to advance in the Knockouts Television Championship Tournament. Okay, that's fine. Don't really care about this at all. Who gives a shit? So, whatever. Eddie Edwards tried to help out, but to no avail. So, Jada wins via roll-up. That's fine, whatever. Post-match, Alicia Edwards ended up attacking Jada. So, there's that. Moving on from that, this leads us into Jason Hodge. He meets up with Mustafa Ali in order 4. Hodge agrees that he deserves the shot, not just for himself, but for his family. So, you know, there's that. Again, hopefully they do get the match next week and get it over with. Maybe that's when we'll see like an Aleister Black or Sheamus showing up. It needs to happen. So, yeah. But I don't care about Order 4 really because, you know, Order 4 has been kind of lame. Again, I'm a fan of Mustafa Ali. I'm a fan of Tasha Steelz, but I just don't care about the Great Hands. I just don't. they'd be better off going to the Indies or MLW or something like that or whatever, or NWA. Whatever, though. Moving on, this leads us into the main event of the evening. Nic Nemeth, he retains the TNA World Championship against KC Navarro. This match was really fun and good. So KC ended up hitting a super kick early on, and then he ended up doing a bunch of roll-ups. Nick kept kicking out at two and everything. Nick ended up doing a brutal super kick towards the end of the match. KC kicked out. Then he ended up hitting the another super kick, followed by the danger zone for the 1, 2, 3. Match was fine, actually. I mean, KC Navarro is great. He looked good here. He showed a lot of fire and intensity and passion. And I like this. I really did enjoy this match. This was a fun match here. We all knew that KC was going to lose anyway going into it. It's fine. But at least they're pushing and using young talent, which is a plus for TNA. I don't know what they're going to do with their main event scene because Mike Santana is no longer with TNA. He's now in NXT. And I don't know what they're going to do. They need to bring in Aleister Black. They need to bring in Sheamus. They need to bring in guys that can work with Nic Nemeth, right? Because you got Leon Slater there, and I think they still are going to use Leon Slater to be the guy to dethrone Nic Nemeth. But in the meantime, who else is going to feud with Nic Nemeth until Bound for Glory? Like, you got to put someone in there. So, hopefully TNA ends up bringing in some of the released WWE talent. Hopefully they can be able to bring in, an Aleister Black. We're still looking for EC3. Where is he? He's been gone for like a month and a half. He's been gone, which is fucking insane. Where's Uhaa Nation? He's only showed up once, and that was back in Slammiversary. We haven't seen him since. He may have went to maybe like an MLW or whatever. I don't know. But we haven't seen him. So I don't know, man. But TNA, they need new talent. They need fresh talent. They really need fresh talent. They really do. I know the IWC talks shit about TNA, but we need a third actual promotion that stands between both the bigger two companies in WWE and AEW, right? And TNA is all we got because, MLW, they don't really do much of anything. When I say do much of anything, I'm talking about, like, shows. I'm talking about pay-per-views. I'm talking about actual week-to-week television. No promotion really does that, right? So, outside of TNA. So, yeah. But this week's episode was actually pretty good. I really enjoyed the main event. I thought that was solid. I like what they're doing with Nic Nemeth. What's next for him? Who's his next challenger going to be? I don't know. We could see him versus Uhaa Nation, maybe. I think that'd be pretty cool. So, there's that. Or it could be Trey Miguel. So, you never know. I forgot about him. I mean, he's still injured, but he should be able to come back in the next month or two. I like what they're doing with the Knockouts Television Championship Tournament. I like that. Although I didn't like the booking of there being a no contest, a draw for Wendy, Choo, and Elayna Black. That was dumb. That was extremely dumb. You should not really have a draw in a tournament like this. It's dumb. You got 10 minutes. You got more than enough time to get stuff done. And you could have done something like a roll-up or something like that or whatever. Or a DQ or something. I just didn't like that finish. The Righteous Deletion was fine. If you've seen one Ultimate Deletion, you've seen them all. So, there's that. But all in all, the show was okay for the most part. Pretty good. And hopefully it does well in the ratings. And we will then move on to the build for Lockdown, which is fine, which is in August. So hopefully they make a strong card for Lockdown. Lockdown's been like one of TNA's big five, I would say. So hopefully they can make a really good card for people to come out in Chicago and for that pay-per-view. But what do you guys think of the show? Let me know. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace.